All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we are diving into a highly realistic, totally evidence-based blueprint for building wealth from absolute zero. Look, if you are completely exhausted by all those get-rich-quick gimmicks online and you just want the actual practical mechanics of sustainable wealth, you are definitely in the right place.
Okay, let's just jump right into how this all comes together. We're going to start with the foundation, move straight into value creation, build out the wealth engine, cover financial intelligence, and then map the whole thing out with a 5-year roadmap.
Part 1. The Foundation. Cultivating the Millionaire Mindset.
Now, what's really interesting here is how everything has to start with your internal architecture, basically a serious growth mindset. You've got hard work, which is essentially brute force, right? Maximum effort that easily leaves you burnt out. And then you have smart work, which relies on strategic leverage and efficient systems. The real secret? Hard work alone just isn't enough anymore, but smart work without actual gritty effort fails completely. Truly wealthy people figure out how to seamlessly combine both.
And absolutely massive part of that foundation is delayed gratification. It's that simple, albeit pretty painful choice of resisting an immediate reward, like, say, blowing your whole paycheck on a weekend out, so you can wait for a much larger, lasting reward later on. Giving up those immediate little pleasures isn't just nice advice. It is a mandatory trade-off for long-term financial success.
There's a great saying, success leaves clues. Study those who started from zero. Think about the journeys of people like WhatsApp founder Yan Koum or Oprah Winfrey. They started from incredibly humble beginnings. The lesson isn't to perfectly copy their exact paths, but to internalize their main driving principle, which is that you have to aggressively create your own opportunities instead of just waiting around for them to fall into your lap.
Moving on to Part 2. Value Creation. Building Skills with Zero Capital.
So how exactly do you start if you are flat broke? Well, you leverage the internet. Here are some of the absolute most potent high-income skills you can learn right this second. Sales, copywriting, digital marketing, AI, programming, and content creation. You don't need a $1 million factory to generate serious income today. You literally just need a laptop and mastery over one of these modern tools.
And this brilliantly illustrates a key concept, because when you have zero capital, your time is your most valuable asset. Enter the 80-20 rule, or the Pareto principle. It essentially states that 80% of your results are going to come from just 20% of your efforts. So don't waste time on the trivial stuff. Focus intensely on those vital few high-income skills that actually move the needle for you.
All right, let's move to Part 3 and see how this builds. The wealth engine, building your business.
Building a business essentially boils down to these specific step-by-step mechanics. First, you find a profitable idea. Second, you conduct rigorous market research. Third, and pay attention because this is the absolute core of entrepreneurship, you solve a real customer problem. Listen, if you aren't solving a problem, you do not have a business. Once you do that, step 4 is branding and marketing to reach people, and step 5 is scaling and automation, so the business can eventually run without you having to babysit it 24/7.
Now, through this business, you're going to generate 2 different flavors of income. Active income is trading your time for money. It's like riding a bike. You have to keep pedaling or you fall over. Think freelancing or consulting. Passive income, on the other hand, is your money working for you, like a treasure chest of royalties, digital products, or investments. Your ultimate goal is to combine both of these to exponentially accelerate your wealth.
That brings us to Part 4. Financial intelligence, managing the wealth.
Because look, making the money is honestly only half the battle. Now you have to understand assets versus liabilities. The crucial point is this: assets put money in your pocket, like investments or a profitable business. Liabilities take money out of your pocket, like consumer debt or financing an insanely expensive car just to look rich. Unless that car is actively making you money, it is a liability. It's really simple. To build wealth, you have to prioritize buying assets.
And once you actually start acquiring those assets, you unlock the absolute magic that is compound interest. You earn interest on your initial investment, plus you earn interest on the interest that naturally accumulates over time. It is, without a doubt, the ultimate lever for sustainable wealth. But here's the catch. It requires immense patience to just sit back and let the math do the heavy lifting for you.
So, where should you actually park your cash to let it compound? Well, here's a really solid, beginner-friendly breakdown.
ETFs and index funds offer low to medium risk, and they are fantastic for consistent long-term growth. Real estate and businesses sit at a medium risk level, excellent for generating cash flow and appreciation. Then you've got cryptocurrency, high risk, offering speculative growth, but you absolutely must be aware of the clear risks involved there. The key takeaway: balance your risk across different assets.
Finally, part 5, the 5-year roadmap and the reality check.
Ambition is fantastic, but we need to ground this in reality for a second. Why do most people actually fail on the journey to 1 million? It's a critical question we have to ask, because the path is literally littered with psychological and financial traps that completely derail aspiring entrepreneurs every single day.
Well, here are the absolute biggest traps you need to avoid: taking on bad debt, procrastination, fear of failure, and a total lack of patience. But I want you to pay special attention to 2 massive killers of new wealth: shiny object syndrome, which is jumping from one new trend to the next without ever mastering anything, and lifestyle inflation, upgrading your lifestyle the absolute second you start making a bit more money, instead of investing it. For sure, do not fall for these.
But if you can dodge those traps, here is a highly realistic 5-year roadmap. Year 1 is pure skill building. Year 2, you're generating your first income streams. In year 3, you're scaling that business up. Year 4 requires heavy investing of your profits. And finally, year 5 is hitting that $1 million milestone. Now notice something here. This is explicitly not an overnight success story. It is a grueling but incredibly rewarding multi-year process.
So how do you actually execute a 5-year plan without losing your mind? With a pretty ruthless daily routine. Morning, exercise and reading for physical health and mental clarity. Midday, deep work and action, actually executing those high-income skills. Evening, reflection and planning for the next day. By using time management principles like time blocking and Parkinson's law, which basically says work expands to fill the time you give it, you eliminate distractions and guarantee daily progress.
This really ties into a fantastic Stoic approach to entrepreneurship. The idea is that wealth is the byproduct of discipline, high-value skills, and time. It's not about getting lucky. It's the natural mathematical result of continuous improvement and incredibly long-term thinking.
And that brings us to the final blueprint. The big takeaway from this entire explainer is this: to build sustainable wealth from zero, you must combine smart work, targeted skill development, entrepreneurship, and disciplined investing with relentless consistency. It's basically a formula of legal, ethical action repeated day after day, year after year.
So, you've got the blueprint, you understand the mindset required, and you've seen the roadmap for the next 5 years. The only missing variable here is you. So I want to leave you with a question to really think about. What high-income skill are you going to start learning today?